Welcome to the Middle School Cafe podcast, where we're serving up fresh strategies and solutions for ELA teachers just like you. Join us as we explore proven methods to bridge the achievement gap and help every student reach their full potential. Whether you're a veteran teacher or just starting out, grab a cup of coffee and a notepad and let's get started. Here's your host, Carolyn Wall.
Hello, happy Tuesday. Thanks for pushing play and spending a few minutes with me today. I know for some of you, if this is your last week of school, so happy summer. But if you're like me, you still have a few more weeks to go. And I know some of you even have a full month ahead. So if that's you, just know that you're not alone. You recall when I relaunched the podcast back in January, I said that I would reevaluate how it's going at the end of this school year. And honestly, I've loved doing this. The support from all of you has been amazing, and I'm excited to say that the podcast will definitely be continuing. I'm thinking about moving back to a weekly format this fall, but for now, at least through the summer, I'm sticking with our usual schedule. New episodes on the first and third Tuesday of the month. All right, in our last episode, we talked about simple ways to build reflection into your everyday reading lessons, like partner discussions, quick stop and jots, and sketch notes. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that episode yet, definitely go back and listen to that one after this one. The strategies I shared in that episode are ones that you could implement right away with little to no prep. Today, we're continuing the conversation about student reflection, but taking it a little deeper. When we talked last time about simple reflection strategies, things like partner discussions or sketch notes, the goal was really about giving students a quick check-in with their thinking while they're reading. Those quick reflections are important and a great place to start. They help students stay connected to the text in the moment. But today, I want to take it a step further. When we give students opportunities for deeper reflection, looking back, noticing patterns, recognizing challenges, and seeing their own growth, that's where real comprehension and critical thinking begin to grow. Building deeper reflection skills takes time. It's something you layer in over the course of the year, not something you overhaul overnight. So today, I'm sharing a few strategies you might start thinking about now, but maybe plan to introduce in the fall. One easy way to start building more structured reflection into your reading routine is with weekly reading reflections. At the end of each week, set aside a few minutes for students to look back on what they've read and think about how their understanding or feelings about the text have changed. You can keep it simple with a few open-ended prompts like, what was the most surprising moment in your reading this week? How did your thinking change as you read? Or what questions are you still wondering about? Each week, you might rotate the focus a little. One week, you could have students reflect on character development, the next week on setting, and another week on theme or author's purpose. This variety keeps the reflections fresh and encourages students to think about different elements of a story over time, not just summarizing what happened. You could even tie the reflection questions to whatever skill you are currently teaching, so it is reflection and skill practice at the same time. Weekly reflections give students a chance to step back and connect the dots across everything they've read, not just focus on one chapter or one reading session. And over time, they start to notice patterns in their thinking and see their own growth as readers. If you want an easy way to structure these reflections, I have a weekly reading response resource that is designed to guide students through meaningful reflection each week. These are not reading logs because they are not focused on how much or how long a student reads, rather what they were thinking and how they connected to what they read. Each week includes a new prompt that invites students to think about different aspects of their reading, whether it's making predictions, drawing connections, or reflecting on character development. It's a simple, low-prep way to keep students engaged with their independent reading while giving you a window into what they are thinking. You can check out the link in the show notes if you are interested in learning more. Another way to bring deeper reflection into your classroom is through one-on-one student conferences or reflection talks. Now, I know with district-mandated curriculum, scripted lessons, and pacing guides, finding time for individual conferences can feel harder and harder. Many of us, myself included, used to meet with students every few weeks, and now it can feel like a scramble just to squeeze it in once a trimester. but those one on one conversations are so valuable, and we can't lose sight of how important they are. Even if the goal shifts to meeting with students just once or twice a quarter, or even once a trimester, it's still worth doing. Taking just a few minutes to check in individually gives students a chance to reflect out loud, to articulate their thinking, and to be seen as readers. And sometimes what students share in those quick conversations gives you more insight than any written assignment ever could. If you're not sure where to start, keep it simple. You might ask students just two quick questions. What's something you've been proud of in your reading lately? Or what's something you're still working on? These short prompts help students focus on their growth as readers instead of just summarizing what they've read. You don't need a long list of questions. Just a couple of thoughtful prompts can open up a meaningful conversation, even during a busy week. It doesn't even have to be formalized, like setting aside a specific time to do this. Sometimes, especially with strong readers, these conversations can take place during downtime in class or during work time. Make reflection questions just a part of your conversation with students. It's easy to feel like if we can't do something as often as we used to, or in a structured way, it's not worth doing at all. But that's not true. Meeting with students even less frequently still sends a powerful message. Your thinking matters. Your growth matters. I see you. Every conversation, no matter how small, helps build a classroom culture where reflection, connection, and growth are valued. It's absolutely worth making space for. Book talks are also a great opportunity to help students build deeper reflection skills. If you're not familiar with book talks, they're short, informal presentations where students share a book they've read, what it was about, what stood out to them, and whether or not they'd recommend it. I have a few episodes and blog posts about using student-led book talks with your class. I'll link those in the show notes so you can check them out and get a feel for how they can work in your class. But for today, I want to focus on putting a reflective twist on the traditional book talk. Instead of asking students to simply explain the plot, encourage students to think about questions like, what part of the book stuck with you the most? How did this story challenge or change your thinking? Or who would you recommend this book to? To help students prepare, you might have them jot a few quick notes before sharing, or give them a simple sentence starter like, this book made me realize, or one thing that really stayed with me was. A little bit of structure can help students move past just summarizing and focus more on personal reflection, without making the book talk feel formal or intimidating. You still want to keep the focus on the book because that is what the audience is interested in, but their talk will be more interesting if it includes a reflection. And it will be more valuable to the student giving the book talk because they get to share about their own experience. By shifting or adding to the focus from summary to personal reflection, you're helping students see reading as something that impacts them, not just something they finish and move on. It's a simple adjustment, but it can make a big difference in how students think about and talk about their reading. This shift can also open the door to class discussions. Once the student shares their own reflection, they can pose questions to the class. I've seen student-led book talks lead to some discussions where students are engaged in thoughtful conversation about the big things in life. Once we get students in the habit of regularly reflecting on their reading, we can start to move to more big-picture reflections that look at growth over time, not just reactions in the moment. One way to do this is by building in end-of-unit reflections, giving students time to pause, step back, and think about how their skills, understanding, and perspectives have grown over the course of a full novel study, thematic unit, or independent reading project. Instead of rushing straight into the next unit, taking time to reflect on the overall unit helps students process the bigger lessons from the unit, the ones that the standards probably don't mention. You might ask questions like, what skills have you developed during this unit? What text challenged you the most and why? Or how has your thinking changed from the beginning to the end? These types of questions push students to recognize growth they might not notice in the day-to-day of reading and discussion. It helps them connect their learning across multiple texts, not just within a single book or lesson. If you're looking for a way to make this easy to manage, I have a set of end-of-unit reflection sheets that can be used with any novel unit or independent reading project, or really any unit. The reflection sheets are flexible enough to fit into different types of lessons, but structured enough to guide students through meaningful reflection without feeling overwhelming. This resource also includes a matching poster set featuring the key reflection questions, making it easy for students to reference throughout the year as part of their reflection routine. As you think about adding more structured reflection into your lessons, I want to share a few simple tips to keep it manageable and meaningful. First, keep prompts clear and student-friendly. Open-ended questions are the key here, ones that invite real thinking instead of just checking for recall. Instead of asking students to summarize what they read, ask them to connect, predict, question, or reflect on how the text made them think differently or reinforce their thinking. Second, don't overgrade it. In fact, I don't think you need to grade it at all. Reflection isn't about spelling, grammar, or perfect organization. It's about helping students articulate their thinking and recognize their growth. If you decide to collect reflections, think about grading them for completion or effort, not correctness. The goal is honest thinking, not polished essays. Third, offer choices when you can. Some students might feel confident writing a reflection. Others might prefer sketching a visual representation. Giving students options can make reflection feel more authentic and accessible, and it lets them show their thinking in ways that work for them. And finally, remember the bigger purpose. Reflection should never feel like busy work for you or your students. It's about helping students engage more deeply with what they're reading and with how they see themselves as learners. Even small, simple reflection opportunities can have a big impact over time. As we wrap up today, remember that moving from quick reflections to deeper, structured reflections is a gradual process. As you start thinking about next year, I encourage you to pick one reflection strategy you might want to weave into your routine. It doesn't have to be complicated or formal. Even small, consistent opportunities for reflection can make a big difference in how students connect with their reading. Maybe it's adding a weekly reading reflection, building in quick one-on-one check-ins, or putting a reflective twist on your book talks. Whatever it looks like for your classroom, the goal is the same: helping students slow down, think about their reading, and recognize their own growth over time. And if you're looking for some ready-to-use tools to make this easier, or just want to see what this could look like in your own classroom, I've linked a few of my favorite resources in the show notes. You'll also find related blog posts and past episodes that go deeper into student engagement, independent reading, and building a reading routine that works. All right, that's it for me today. Thanks so much for listening. I'm so glad you're here. If you have found value in today's episode, please share it with a friend. Until next time. Thanks for joining me today. As a reminder, a new episode drops every first and third Tuesday, so be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. Be sure to visit middleschoolcafe.com to find links to everything mentioned in today's show. Until next time.